Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. In today's video, we're going to be discussing Harry Potter, the Chamber of Secrets, Floo Powder, and Diagon Alley. More specifically, we're going to be discussing how and why Harry ended up in Knockturn Alley the first time that he used the Floo Network. This video was heavily requested on my video the other day, where I asked you all to comment video requests, so I hope it's to your liking. For those unaware, the Floo Network is a network of interconnected fireplaces that connect the wizarding world. In order to utilize the Floo Network, you also need Floo Powder, a powder thrown into the fireplace that turns the flames into harmless, emerald green flames. In the Chamber of Secrets, when Harry leaves the Burrow to go to Diagon Alley, he uses the Floo Network for the first time. Diagonally, he coughed. But what's more interesting about this is that Harry doesn't end up in Diagon Alley at all. He ends up in the much more nefarious Knockturn Alley, full of all sorts of dark arts shops. So how did Harry end up there? Well, the first thing worth mentioning is that Harry didn't pronounce Diagon Alley exactly right. It was his first time using the Floo Network, and he was nervous, understandably. Harry's first time using the Floo Network also happened to be at the Weasleys, and so he was overloaded with all sorts of different advice from each of the Weasley family members. "Well, alright, you go after Arthur," said Mrs. Weasley. "Now, when you get into the fire, say where you're going. And keep your elbows tucked in," Ron advised. "And your eyes shut," said Mrs. Weasley. "The soot, don't fidget," said Ron, "or you might well fall out of the wrong fireplace. But don't panic and get out too early. Wait until you see Fred and George." Trying hard to bear all this in mind, Harry took a pinch of Floo powder and walked to the edge of the fire. He took a deep breath, scattered the powder into the flames, and stepped forward. The fire felt like a warm breeze. He opened his mouth and immediately swallowed a lot of hot ash. Diagonally, he coughed. An old wooden street sign hanging over a shop selling poisonous candles told him he was in Knockturn Alley. This didn't help, as Harry had never heard of such a place. He supposed he hadn't spoken clearly enough through his mouthful of ashes back in the Weasley's fire. Trying to stay calm, he wondered what to do. So, how did Harry mess up his brief stint with the Floo Network so badly? Knockturn Alley sounds nothing like Diagon Alley. What it boils down to is his pronunciation. You see, Harry almost said Diagon Alley, and the result is that he almost made it to Diagon Alley, but not quite. As he slightly mispronounced the name, he ended up in the adjacent Knockturn Alley. And that's it for this video. If you enjoyed the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, remember, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, if only one remembers to turn on the light.